I'm your host, Arlene. I am a life coach and a business consultant specializing in the area of peak performance and momentum, which means that I help you to move forward in that business, project, or endeavor. So, have you ever wanted to start a business, but you just haven't seemed to do it? Or you wanted to 10x that business you already have, but you just haven't seemed to do it? Or perhaps it's not business at all. You want to write that book that you've always wanted to write. Well, you're in the right place today, because that's exactly what a momentum coach does, help you to move forward in that business, project, or endeavor. Okay, so let's start the show. Hello, Lisa. It's a pleasure to have you today.
Well, Arlene, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. And you are also one of those participating with us in the 7,000 Step Per Day Challenge, which is wonderful. Thank you for working with us on that, because the more people we have, the better the collective consciousness. So tell us now in detail, in more detail than I've explained it, what you do as an energy coach and as a life coach. Tell us what you do.
All right. So imagine a cross between Mary Poppins and a Jedi Knight, guiding you from confusion to clarity, frustration to bliss, surviving to thriving. I'm feeling more confident, fulfilled, and connected, because we're a little bit disconnected, aren't we? As you've just said, with what's going on. So as your success engineer, mindset alchemist, and spiritual doula. There's a lot of people going through some spiritual earthquakes at the moment.
Let me let our audience know that I know you as somebody who helps others when they need to move forward. You help them with their energy. You help them to be more out. Many of us are out here, and we're trying to accomplish a lot of things. And what I see you do is help people to hone themselves a little bit better so that they can be able to achieve their goals. So you're right in line with what we're doing here on the show, right in line with helping people to make things happen that we need to make happen. So for starters, tell us first of all, tell them where you live.
Well, I'm currently in the UK.
In the UK. Wonderful.
I normally live in Bali.
Where in the UK are you?
I'm in Cheshire, in the northwest.
In the northwest. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that near Manchester?
Yes. Yeah, not far from Manchester.
Okay, wonderful. My mom used to live up there
Right.
years ago. And but before the COVID-19 situation, where is it that you really live? Because you really live in Bali, which is so exciting.
I know. Yes, I hang out mostly in Bali. I'm an Australian resident as well as a citizen, as well as a UK citizen. So I sort of flit around between the three. But generally, Bali is where I call home. It's where I enjoy being the most.
That is awesome. And the reason why I ask that, it kind of leads to our conversation today, because you didn't always live in Bali. You didn't always have this lifestyle where you can fly wherever you'd like to fly and just live there. I mean, many of us would love to pick up and live in, Jamaica or Australia or Bali, for example. But we're, living where we live and going to work every day and, trugging along. So what did you do differently that helped you to be able to fulfill your dreams and be the best version of yourself as you're doing?
Okay. So first of all, the first shift came from pain. We tend to move away from pain or towards pleasure. And my first thing was pain. I had chronic fatigue syndrome in my 30s, and I was trained to be a physical training instructor in the Reserve Army. So I was super fit, and all of a sudden I couldn't even walk up the stairs. So we moved to Australia.
Don't gloss over that. You had, what did you have?
I had chronic fatigue syndrome.
Chronic?
Before it was known as chronic fatigue syndrome. Yeah, it was called ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis then, but this comes under the umbrella of chronic fatigue.
Okay, and what is that?
It's just sheer exhaustion. It's adrenal fatigue. It's the whole body. It's just closes down. It's essentially, I couldn't get out of bed sometimes. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do things. One day you'll be perfectly all right, and then the next day you are just out of it.
So many of the listeners have heard my story. So I worked for several corporations, major corporations, and I worked in politics, and I got recruited to go for a CEO position clear across the country, and I did. And then shortly thereafter, I got fired. So I was really stressed out and stuck, as they say. And then shortly thereafter, my mom passed away, and I was really stuck at that point. I physically could not move. I just felt exhausted. It was like everything just came in on me at that juncture. And I had to, as you know, go to a lot of conferences, and I started reading books, and I started getting all the tapes in order for me to be able to get up and move again. And then that's how I wrote the book, 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear and Getting Unstuck. That's why I do the show. And that's also one of the reasons why I became a coach, because when I started looking around for people who could help me when I was in that situation, I was hard pressed for people to really believe that I just didn't feel like I could move. So the fact that you're sharing that is just in line with what I was feeling, although not to the severity that you were, that it was, a medical condition. But for me, as far as what I was feeling, it was a medical condition. So tell me how you were able to move forward from that.
Well, it was the turning point in my journey, as these challenges so often are. I really believe there's an opportunity in every challenge. And I realized very quickly that if I followed the system, I wasn't going to get better. And my recovery depended on me, not on outside assistance or outside medical treatment.
Okay.
So that was my first shift.
Wait, before you move on, because that was insightful. You said there's an opportunity in every challenge.
Absolutely.
That's everything.
If we look at the law of polarity, it's easy to explain. You can't have good without bad, and vice versa.
The yin and the yang. So every time we encounter these challenges, no matter what it is, even this COVID-19 situation, there's always an opportunity for us to move forward, do better, something alternate than what we were doing before. So had I not gone through the challenge that I went through, although I had always thought about coaching, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now had I not gone through that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm the same. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I probably would be dead, because I used to just live life at 150 miles an hour, and just, burnout would have hit me. I really don't think I'd still be alive now if I hadn't had that. But I believe that these challenges are our wake-up call.
What were you doing before? What kind of position?
Oh, I did lots of things. I was a reserve soldier, which was my passion, and all my jobs had to fit around being able to go away with the army weekends and for camps and stuff. So never had a career as such.
Okay, but the army, that's pretty stressful.
The reserve army,
yeah. I mean, you're in the military. You're running into adverse situations and pretty much bringing on the stress.
Yeah, and I was pretty stressed at the time. I didn't think I was, but I look back now and go, oh my goodness.
How could you not thought you were stressed? You're in the army. Well, because early, sitting up late. You thought you were a civilian, or you just didn't realize?
No, well, I was both, because it was a reserve army. So I was a civilian during the week, and then reserve army at the soldier at weekends, or when we went away on camp or anything. And but I did it pretty much full time, because I was a medic, and medics were always in demand. So any unit that ever trains needs medical cover. So I would be there. But I never ever thought of myself as stressed. But I look back now and I can see how stressed I was.
So now, how did you come to this arena? From the stress situation, from not being able to move, how did you find this arena?
So really, something, and I'm very blessed with this, Arlene, that I realized very quickly that this wasn't about the illness. This was about the way I was living my life. I wasn't being congruent. I wasn't doing what I was here to do.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, it means that, okay, so let me say that for most of us, the busier we are, the more we're avoiding dealing with our own stuff. And we can't grow properly if we don't deal with our own stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I talk about this in my book, Finding the Gorgeous in You, that if I believe I got chronic fatigue syndrome for a reason and not cancer. Because if I'd had cancer, I would have fought cancer. Because that's what you do, you fight cancer. And my body needed me to be still. So I had chronic fatigue syndrome where I couldn't bear light, I couldn't bear noise, sound of any kind, and I physically couldn't do much. So there's only one place you can go, and that's in.
That's another thing. There's a serious correlation between the physical and the manifestations that we're having. And sometimes people get sick and they don't realize, oh my goodness, that is a call to change, to shift what you've been doing before. I had a client who was chronically getting sick. She was constantly having surgeries, and her lifestyle was like yours. It was always on go. She had kids, she had a job, she was a volunteer for community organizations. She was just doing, as they say, as the kids say, because I worked in the high schools, doing the most.
Yeah.
When she got sick, she was forced to be in the bed and not go anywhere and just reflect on her situation. And then she herself would say, wow, I probably really needed that. And then the minute she got better, she went back to doing the same thing.
And then, we're slow learners for an intelligent species.
Have you read Louise Hay's books at all?
Yes.
Where she talks about how we can heal ourselves based on,
So my when I as a therapist, I'm also a qualified Bowen therapist, which is an Australian therapy. But I've always worked on the theory that whatever the dis-ease is in the body, because that's all disease is, it's dis-ease, that it's telling you what is going on emotionally. So dis-ease is a manifestation of unresolved emotional issues.
Manifestation of unresolved emotional issues.
Yeah.
So with her line of philosophy, even if it's your head, if it's a headache, it correlates to a particular issue.
Yep.
If it's your chest that hurts, it correlates to a particular issue, and it's outlined.
Yes.
So there's no mistaking it. So many people don't subscribe to that. They don't believe that that is the case. But do you have any evidence where you've seen how that is actually true?
Many, many, many times. Like I said, I ran my own therapy business for 12 or 13 years and saw a lot of this. And in the beginning, it was hard because people couldn't see it, couldn't get it. But after a while, people start to see what's going on. And also sometimes that there are advantages to having dis-ease. And people don't think of that. They go, there's no advantage to this, but there is. And I've seen examples of people who would come out of my therapy room healed, for want of a better word, and then would go back to the old ways because they no longer had their justification for whatever was going on in their lives.
Give us an example.
So a classic example, well, I've got two. One is a woman who was in her 50s and she worked in a paint shop, so lifting tins of paint, which were heavy. Mm-hmm. And she had a back problem. Now, because she had a back problem, she didn't have to lift the tins of paint. Everybody would do it for her. So we got her fixed, got her straightened out. She had like real, not scoliosis, but lordosis, kyphosis, that type of thing, curvature of the spine. Right. And hunchback type thing. We got her straight in one session. We got her straight coming out, and she didn't come back for a second treatment. And we normally were encouraged 2 or 3 just to lock in the new programming in the body. And next time I saw her, she was in a bad state. And we'd actually talked about this. But what had happened was when she went back to work and she didn't have a back problem, she was expected to pull her weight. So there was an advantage to her to having a back problem because her life was easier.
She didn't have to lift her boxes.
Yeah, that's a therapy called Bowen therapy, and I don't do that very often. I do it remotely now because I'm not static. I'm not in one place long enough to be able to do that. But we don't need that. It's just a bit of a boost where it resets the body. It activates the body's own healing system, a bit like acupuncture does. Acupuncture. So I tend to mix that with a little bit of mindset work and energy work and a combination of things. But we don't. The physical helps because it gives you a bit of a kickstart. Yes. But we can actually look at any illness, any dis-ease, because that's all illnesses is dis-ease of the body.
Absolutely.
And one of the things, and this is something you can do yourself, but what I will say is that when you answer these questions, you listen to your body, not what your head's saying. And when I get my clients and they've got an illness, they've got some disease, and I would say to them, does this belong to you?
What do you mean? Does this belong to you?
Does this illness or this problem, does it belong to you?
Of course not.
Yeah. But mostly, sometimes people will say, yes, of course it is. I'm feeling it. Of course it's mine. But a lot of people will go, oh my goodness, no, it's not mine. But it's just this realization. Of course, once you've got that realization, you've got something to work with.
Which is why the mindset that you have is so important. So I do a type of massage. I don't do it personally, but I have it done to me. My masseuse, she does a massage called shiatsu. So I would always do just a regular, what do you call it? Not deep tissue, but what is it? The regular massages that people do. It's a European name.
Oh, the Swedish massage.
Right, the Swedish massage. Thank you, Lisa. I knew you would know. But she switched from the Swedish massage to this thing called shiatsu massage. And Lisa, when I was finished, I felt so good. I felt like $1 million. And it wasn't like the hot stone massage, which feels great, but it doesn't seem to last for me. But this thing, it was like I had been transformed. And I kept saying, well, what exactly are you doing? Because it seemed like more was going on than just the massage itself, because I felt so different. And after that, I was able to get my thoughts together and decide what I needed to do next in the journey. When prior to the massage, I really wasn't sure what I needed to do career-wise, because at that time, I knew I had been doing the CEO type position where I was running chambers of commerce and I was working in politics. I worked on President Obama's campaign in the battleground state of Florida. I mean, I was running, ripping and running. But I knew I didn't want to do that, but I wasn't sure at that juncture what I wanted to do. After the shiatsu massage, I was on point. I was able to sit and just begin to plan.
Yeah. Because shiatsu, like most Eastern medicines, so acupuncture, all those kinds of things, work on the energy systems of the body. So when the energy systems of the body are flowing properly, and we in the Western world tend not to see energy, because if you cut the body open, you won't see it. But we have meridians, which are energy channels, which are very similar to our veins and arteries. So a yin and a yang one. So your arteries would be yang and your veins would be yin. And we have these energy channels going through the body. And just like your arteries and your veins, if you've got a blockage, you've got a problem. And most people aren't aware of the energy blockages. So when we shift those energy blockages, and we can do this through the mind as well as through the body.
That's what I was going to say, because with the massage, they're actually physically touching you. Like my shoulders get tense. Most people, you'll have a pain in your back, or some people will say, oh, so-and-so is a pain in my neck. So-and-so is a pain in my neck. And then they don't realize that correlates.
Pain in the neck.
Yes. I knew a client, I kid you not. She used to always say, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but she would always say, I'm busting my butt. She was a high-level executive, and she was busting her butt. She was busting her butt. Not an expression that I would use, nor do I usually hear used, but she literally had an incident, and she had to then carry a pillow with her after her procedure in order to move forward. And I really wanted to say to her, do you realize that you consistently stated that before it actually took place? But I didn't. I left it alone. But it's amazing how there is a correlation between the words that people speak and then the actions that take place. So all of these people with neck pains and back pains and shoulder pains, the unique thing about your methodology is that you don't even necessarily touch them.
No. I mean, Bowen therapy is a physical therapy, but I've learned to do it remotely. So I could do a treatment on you from here to there. And that's very powerful. It's not something I do a lot of. It's a little bit way out there. Bowen therapy itself is a bit way out there for people. To do remote Bowen is a little bit too way out there. But it's another tool that I have that I can utilize if I need to. But ultimately, the body responds to the mind. So we've got the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, which you're fully aware of. And the conscious mind is only 5% of the mind, but the subconscious mind is 95%. So if we think of it like a computer, your conscious mind is the software that you add, but your subconscious mind is the hardware. And if you're like me, you have no idea what is in the hardware. No idea what was going on there.
So within my coaching programs, I am constantly working with people who want to move forward, who are maybe having a goal for several years that they just have not taken place with. They've not manifested. So I'm constantly working with a lot of fear, because I find that that's really what stops people from moving forward in those areas. They're just afraid. Sometimes instead of saying, I'm afraid of failing, you just don't do it. And then you somehow trick your mind into saying, well, if I never tried it, I didn't fail at it. So how does this therapy correlate with people who are stuck and are not moving and need to release that fear? Is that something also that you can help them with remotely?
Yes. Yes. There isn't anything you can't help with remotely. You've just got to know that it's possible, because everything we do is energy. All healing is energy work. So and energy is universal.
And Jane's spouse has back pain. So I come to you, Lisa, and I say, I'm Jane, and I say, my spouse has a back pain. You sit in London, in England, in the UK, and you fix my spouse's back pain?
Can do, yeah. The only thing, sorry?
Without my spouse even being privy to it?
No, I wouldn't do that, because that's an invasion of his energy.
Okay.
So there's, look, it can be done, but the when we're working with energy, it's really important to be congruent. And if I'm working on somebody without their knowledge, then that's manipulation.
Okay.
And that's not where we work from. So, because it's not everybody's story to get better.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is that we all come here with tasks, with roles.
Yes, I'm always
roles to play.
Everyone is here for a purpose, and the whole plan is to find your purpose and then manifest it. And if you're not manifesting your purpose, that's a challenge. I mean, that's a problem, because you come here for a reason. So yeah, some people are taking care of kids, and that may be their sole purpose for being here. But if you're taking care of kids and you're not happy with that, you're not pleased with that, and you keep thinking, I should be doing something else, I should be doing something else, and you never investigate what that something else is, well, tomorrow's not promised. We all had a limited time to be here, so you're working against your own self-purposes. You're not going to self-manifest. You're not going to be the best version of yourself unless you're at least on that journey. Yeah. Miles Monroe says the most wealthy place in the world is the cemetery, because people take all of their dreams and their goals and their talents and their giftings to the cemetery, because we're not manifesting them. So what can you tell us before we sign off, because we only have a minute left? I've really enjoyed talking with you. We're going to ask you to come back again. What can you tell us is something that we can do in order to help find our true purpose, or our true calling, or our true goal?
Well, obviously there's lots of different ways to do it, but something, and all of it requires some reflection. And this is something that we're not good at. We're not willing to take that time to sit down and really dig deep into the truth. But something that's probably easiest to Google, Ikigai, Ikigai, and that helps you find out. So what you're looking at is what you love to do, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what the world is willing to pay for. And when you go through those questions and you work out what your passion is, you will see very clearly what you're here to do. So that's probably the easiest, given that we haven't got much time, it's probably the easiest way to actually explore that.
Is there an exercise that you can leave us with that we could use to help find that something?
Come back and ask, is this the truth? Is this the truth? Does this belong to me? So any thought, any illness, does this belong to me? Is this the truth? But listen to your body, not to your mind.
Listen to your body, not to your mind. So how do you listen to your body? Like what's supposed to happen? Like you think,
No, you'll notice
move or,
no, if you're very still with your body, I mean, you can do muscle testing, but if you're really still with your body, you will feel some tension or something if it's not true. And it could be anywhere, but you will feel something, but you have to be still enough to just tune into your body and ask the question, and then your body will tell you the answer.
How insightful. Thank you so much, Lisa. So,
you're most welcome.
On the Ask Arlene Show, if you are feeling tense about the situation, listen to your body and move forward in a direction that is in line with what your body is telling you and your mind is telling you. Because 9 times out of 10, your true purpose or your true calling is something that you've been thinking about, something that you've been mulling over, something that has continually come to you over a long period of time. And so when people say, oh, well, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I should go, which is what happens a lot of times, that's probably not the case. You probably do know exactly where you're supposed to be and exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't listened to it in the past. So once we stop, we quiet our mind, our thoughts, our anxiety, and we listen to what Lisa said, and just listen to our body and listen to our mind, we'll be sure to achieve those goals and achieve those dreams. And like I always say, we have a community for you to come to so that you can be the best version of yourself. And you find us through bit.ly/AskArlene, capital A for Ask, capital A for Arlene. And we're also inviting you to sign on to the Ask Arlene Show so that we can work with you and help you to be the best version of yourself. Thank you for spending the time with us today. Thank you, Lisa, for spending the time with us and sharing your knowledge with us. Everyone else who is listening to us today, have a great evening. All the best. See you next week, 6:30, same place. Bye-bye.